Good morning, lovely people. Marie Alessi here. Today, I want to share something with you that has been a huge pain point for me ever since Rob passed away. And that was when you come to a doctor's office or emergency in a hospital. I ticked like quite a few boxes so far in the last 4.5 years where all of a sudden you come across this little box, next of kin. And every time I have to say, it was like a punch in the guts. It is this very unexpected reminder of that there is no one there. Um, I understand that most of you in this group, in Loving Life After Loss, and by the way, if you're watching that from outside the group, please follow us, subscribe, or see if you can join a group if that's for you. Most of us inside the group, Loving Life After Loss, are in a very similar situation where all of a sudden they have nobody to fill out when it comes to this little box next of kin. I have spoken previously about ticking the box of, relationship status. That is definitely also one that triggers me, but way not as badly as the next of kin, because there is it's not just a little tick that you need to fill out, if it's widowed or I literally had to learn that it had to be widowed for various reasons. I can't just put single. I can't just put still married. I remember when Rob was still around, I always put the word happily before it and then ticked it. I was always making a point of happily married and I loved it. And then there is that line, next of kin. What do you put there? And for a while, I left it blank, or I put in my brother in law, or, I just really had to think about that every single time that I thought there's not one person that I want to put in. Then I had a really good chat to a very long standing friend. We've known each other for 25 years. He was a single dad and I was a single mom. Well, he was a single dad, I was widowed. So different relationship status, but both in the same boat, that we didn't really have a person to put into next of kin. So we put each other's names. Yet he moved away since, and that was another thing to consider. Who would be in my life? Who would be in my life for a really long time that I can rely on? And the other day, I was yet in another situation, where I had to fill out that box. It was just a normal doctor's visit for a checkup. And she said, "Oh, Mrs. Alessi, you haven't filled out, that paperwork for a while. We're just making sure that all your status is up, all your details are up to date. And could you just fill out that form?" And yet again, I was faced with this line, next of kin. And my first reaction was, again, this tiny little niggling of punch in the guts. And I'm like, oh. And then in that very moment at the doctor's office, I decided to finally turn this around for me and not see it as a constant reminder of Rob not being in our lives anymore, yet to look at my life right now as is and do a bit of a quick scan, as in, who is in my life that I would trust if something happens and a phone call comes, that he or she would know what to do, that he or she would know how to handle a situation, what to do with the boys, who to call. And I'm not saying about me passing away. I'm saying maybe there was an accident. Maybe there was something going on where I'm not reachable for whatever reason. It doesn't always have to be the worst case scenario, which we very easily tend to. So I just want to put that in as a reminder. It doesn't always have to be worst case scenario. Sometimes something very normal happens where you're just not available and it needs a next of kin. It needs somebody that you can call, who knows what to do. So in this doctor's office, I sat and did a quick scan of my friends, and I have chosen one who I know that I can always rely on, who I know that I can trust with all my heart, who I know is in a similar situation, who also doesn't have family here in this country, just like me. I've got my in-laws, but I have nobody like really close to me here in town who I'm related to. So I also thought about, who can I ask with this what I, for a split second, thought as a burden. And then when I delved deeper, I thought, you know what? This is actually an honor. Like, I would be honored for somebody to put me down as a next of kin. To know that somebody trusts me enough to deal with his or her family or affairs or whatever is going on that needs to be dealt with, that they would pick me as a next of kin. So I chose my friend Ursula because I have known her for a really, really long time. She has known my boys for a really, really long time. And I trust her with all my heart. I didn't even have to think about that. I trust her with all my heart. And I know for her to be capable that if something happens that needs urgent attention, that she would be there with bells on, that she would be there without hesitation, that she would know what to do. So in this very moment in the doctor's office, without even asking her, I felt that I knew and trusted her enough to be able to put that name down without being able to ask her, because I only had a moment where I needed to hand in that paperwork. So after my doctor's visit, I had this beautiful conversation with her, and she was so touched. And of course, she said, "Yep, no questions asked." And I said, "Please do the same. Please do the same with me. We are soul sisters. I'm more than happy for you to use my name." And she was very happy about that too. And as I said, very similar situation with no family here in the country and needing somebody that you can trust and rely on. So the next time when you're sitting in this doctor's office, or maybe even watching this video now, prepare yourself for that question. Take it as a chance to actually scan your circle of friends and think about who is it that you trust so much that you want to give them that status in your life, that name to be filled out in a doctor's office, and have that conversation with them. Have the conversation why you choose them and why they mean so much to you and why you trust them so much that you would choose them to put their name down. Because at the end of the day, I feel it is a true honor, not a burden. It is such a beautiful reflection of your friendship if you choose somebody to put his or her name into that box. And I want you to think about this in a way that you know that you can rely on that person, that he or she would definitely be there when you need them the most. That is the key question. Can you rely on this person 100%? And that made me choose Ursula. Ursula, if you're watching this, thank you so much for being in my life, and thank you that I can trust you wholeheartedly. I love you very much. You're very important to me. And everybody watching this, please have a think about who that person can be in your life. I'm sending you so much love. This is Marie. Bye for now.